What's up, brand builder? I'm Bonigala, and welcome to another episode of the Brand Builder Show, where I post 3 videos every week on how to create, launch, build, and market your brand. In this episode, we talk about a brand identity system. What is a brand identity system? When one thinks of a brand identity, most people tend to think of the logo design. While a logo is one of the most important elements of a brand identity, there are others that are as important and perhaps sometimes even more important than the logo itself. In this video, we talk about the various elements of a brand identity and how they all come together to constitute a brand identity system. So, what is a brand identity system? A brand identity system is a collection of elements which work together to create a unified, consistent, and flexible brand assets that communicate the brand value to the target audience effectively. Yes, it's a bunch of jargon, but it's essentially a collection of elements. It constitutes 6 major brand assets, including the primary brand mark or logo design, secondary brand mark, color palette, typography, visual brand extensions. These could be such as official brand pattern, icons. Also includes the brand tone, which includes visual images, photo standards, the tone of voice in all messaging and communication. Now, while each of these brand identity system elements is a topic unto itself, in this particular video, we will define each briefly to create a context for the importance of having a brand identity system for a successful brand development. Now, this video is one of the lessons from my Ultimate Brand Builder course. By completing that course, you will have built a robust and stunning brand that will be poised to attract your target audience and dominate your marketplace. So, what are these brand assets? The first one is the primary brand mark. It is the most visible symbol of brand power, and it could be called as a brand mark or logo design. It should be as simple as possible and tend towards conceptual and abstract visual elements rather than literal, trying to show what your brand does or what it stands for. The primary brand mark should be flexible enough to work well across various different media, different touch points at all sizes. It should be easy to reproduce and must use solid design principles. At the very least, a good logo design should have the following 6 qualities. 1, the logo should be scalable. In most cases, the logo should have solid colors. The logo should be adaptable. The logo should be memorable. It should be unique, and it should have a message. Brand asset number 2 is the secondary brand mark. For many, the idea of a secondary brand mark may be alien. In fact, till recently, the golden rule of branding was to have one single logo that was consistent across all media and usually unchanged for years. But that landscape has changed now, and that philosophy and the definition has also changed for what a brand identity is. Everyone is a publisher these days with their own publishing channels such as blogs, social media channels, and so on and so forth. The internet has become more than just an information superhighway. It has become a noisy and chaotic environment where information is dumped onto people at an insanely fast pace. So the signal to noise ratio is so high that people are starting to block out and filter out the internet. Now, in such an environment, how can a brand stand out and thrive? This is where the secondary brand mark comes into play. It supports the primary logo and enhances the brand message. It is used on secondary touch points such as merchandising, marketing collateral, social media campaigns, and so on. For lifestyle brands such as clothing and fashion brands, a secondary brand mark serves a very important role. It is used to create brand recall and is used on touch points such as labels, tags, sometimes even on the apparel itself, as for example, t-shirt designs or even belt buckles and so on. Brand asset number 3 is the color palette. Most brands have a signature color scheme, whether it is black and white or maybe a more creative palette. But many companies think that their carefully chosen colors are limited to their letterhead or logo design or signs. But using your colors throughout your business will give a better rounded experience to people who interact with your business while helping to make those colors synonymous with your brand. Owning a color in your market segment should be one of the most important goals of your branding. If used strategically, you can own a color which your target audience can come to associate with your brand. At times, this can be so effective that just the color will remind people of your brand without even the primary or even the secondary brand marks visible. When choosing colors for your brand, base them on suitability to your brand, along with ensuring they align with the worldview of your target audience. Your personal preference as the stakeholder or the founder of the brand maybe should come last. As with your brand mark, you should have a primary color and secondary and tertiary colors. This color palette should then be used effectively to communicate the essence of your brand. Brand asset number 4 is typography. Now, typography is fundamental to establishing a robust brand identity system. Selecting the right fonts to represent your brand could be a very daunting process, and most brands simply make random choices based on personal preferences. Now, typefaces have personality, and you should try and identify typography that matches the personality of your brand. Different fonts types evoke different feelings. For example, typically serif typefaces represent tradition, while sans serif may stand for modernity. Some fonts look friendly, while others may look a bit more corporate. As with colors, your brand should have a primary typeface, which is usually used in your primary brand logo. Unless you have a custom typeface in your logo design, you can also use the primary typeface for headlines and other important messages of your brand. You have to use this primary font judiciously so that you don't dilute the primary brand logo. Now, secondary and tertiary typefaces should ideally be complementary to the primary typography. Brand asset number 5 is your visual brand extensions. Visual brand extensions are design elements that support and enhance the brand's visual experience. These could be things such as the official brand pattern, maybe a set of icons, and so on. Having an official brand pattern that is used as a subtle part of your brand's visual makeup can go a long way in creating a high level of brand recall. They reinforce the brand's message and lets the audience know that the brand cares about details. Of course, this in turn expresses the message that the brand is consistent and trustworthy. Icons or iconography can be another powerful tool in your brand's message system. Custom icons created specifically for your brand can establish a direct subconscious connection with your target audience. Icons can be used to create visual anchors that can then extend within your branding efforts and that enable you to broadcast the brand message effectively. Brand asset number 6 is the brand tone. Now, last but not least, one of the most important brand assets is your brand tone. A brand tone can be simply stated as the personality of your brand. This is the impression or perception that you want your brand to convey when people are interacting with your brand. A brand tone is what your brand says, but more importantly, what it is said. Good messaging takes your competitive position and brand strategy to the next level. So the good messaging hones in on what's important to your market and communicates it effectively and consistently. How you respond when asked about your brand or service or product and the tone of your messaging has tremendous impact on how your brand is perceived by your target audience. Your brand tone can manifest in several different ways, some of which are as follows: your brand's elevator pitch, your positioning statement, your vision and mission statements, your brand's tagline and maybe even slogan, your press releases, your social media communication, your blog posts and articles, your communication style via email, phone, or even face to face. I hope you found this episode useful. If you have any questions about this video, please hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Bonigala. Or leave a comment below this video and I will surely respond. And as always, please don't forget to subscribe to the Brand Builder Show channel so that you will be alerted when my next episode comes out. Till my next video, take care.